A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Oof. This quote is by my dogs, Seneca. Oof. Hells yeah. You know, like he always spoke that deep shit back in the day. I was there back then. Well, I believe I was. The old me. I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna say the old me was him, but like, you know, we was kicking back. You know, like we'd all be on the street, you know, getting a few drinks, chilling out, looking at stuff, looking at the people. And, you know, we'll be hanging out and we see a guy and we're like, oh, damn. That dude over there, he's been through some shit. Look how refined and polished that gentleman is. Oh, yeah. Unlike that dude over there. Nah. That guy over there, he's got a lot to learn. But that dude we're looking at, oh, look at the way he stands. Look at that surety he has in his eyes. He knows what he's willing to engage in. He knows what's a waste of his time. He's refined. He's definitely been through some shit. That's what we're talking about. That's what Seneca was talking about. You know, we use the term, you know, a gem being polished because what a lot of people don't understand about gems, crystals, jewels and all that, when we find them, they're still in their raw state. And so there's still a lot of other things attached to it, you know, like other stones, other metals, other minerals. And in a sense, they got to go through a processing and removing all the, you know, other, I don't want to say impurities, but just like other components and minerals and all that stuff until we get 100% of that gem, or as close as possible to that gem. That's what refining the gem is. And it's the same thing with people. I was going to say man, but you know, some people get annoyed by that word. You know what? I'm just going to say man anyway, because like whether you like it or not, that's the form of our language. I'm not against, you know, different sexualities or anything. Like, yeah, that's just the form of our language. So I'm going to continue to use that. So refining a gem is just like, it's just like refining a man. And as this quote says, you know, you got to go through your trials. You got to go through experiences, ordeals, things that really show your true character. Because when you go through more of that, and as you grow, that's the word. As you grow, you get to find out what you're worth, what you're willing to stand for, what you're willing to tolerate, or what you just let happen to you. It defines your character, your experiences, the experiences that life brings to you, and also the experiences that you choose to engage in. They're the two things that define a character. So what this quote is talking about, in a sense, is the character of a man can be understood through their trials, through their ordeals, through their experiences. Or we can also say a man, a character that we all value more, look up to more, is someone that's had experiences with life. We value that more. And why do we value that more? Because they've grown more. They have grown and experienced more things. Because the more you grow, the more you get to specialize in whatever it is you want. There's a few things that happens through experiences and growth. Specialization also, I guess, what's the right word? Surety, certainty of what you want to be, what you prefer in life, which comes to, specialization. And it's also that with the specialization, that growth, it comes to the point where now it's no longer about receiving and accumulating things that allow you to grow. Because during the beginning phases of any sort of path, growth, journey that you take on, the first part is all about accumulating and gathering and building up, construction, getting everything you can and putting it up. But as the journey continues, as life goes on, as you go through further and further, more and more, you realize what it is you want to engage in more. You realize what it is that you want to fulfill. And after you've accumulated enough to create the essence or the base of your character, that's when you can start removing what no longer serves. That is when it's no longer so much about gathering and gaining and building up as big as possible. Now it's about, all right, I've got everything I needed for the initial growth. Now I need to refine. Now I know what it is exactly what I'm doing. Now my mind, my purpose is more focused, more specialized. Now I can remove what I don't need anymore. Now I can stop gathering this thing that helped me as I was in my juvenile state, but now I don't need that. I no longer need to learn my ABCs or my multiplications. Now I know exactly what it is I want to, specialize in. It's interesting, this idea of growth and refining and specialization, because many people, I think a lot of people, there's a new age idea that the education system, it's flawed and it's not as necessary as possible. If anything, it doesn't work as well anymore. Which is, that idea, that notion is actually very strong and it's valid. I don't disagree with it. But the education system still has a valid essence behind it. It puts children and our young population in a system that helps them through the accumulation and gathering and building phase. It allows our young population to explore different avenues of where they can grow, whether it be through mathematics and sciences, history and literature, religion, creative arts, physical education and sport, just the few basics, just to say. And once our young population has a good taste and while they build their character, then they can find out what they want to specialize in. Then they can find out what it is they want to gather more of and what they no longer need to accumulate anymore. I guess some of the flaws in the education system is how long the young population needs to be in school. Because maybe the 12th grade is already too far. I'm sure through middle school, that should be enough. As in the 7th, 8th, 9th grade, that should be enough for a young person to really see and get a taste of all the different avenues of intellect. Because at the end of the day, there's so many jobs out there. There's so many different types of work And all these avenues of intellect don't exactly supplement that entirely. That's where the flaw kind of gets in. And of course, like, we can talk about the trends of the best of us, graduate with the best scores, and then we go to higher education, and then apparently higher education gets us the dream job. I'm pretty sure most people understand like that old tradition is pretty flawed now, and which is why this whole argument of the education system is flawed entirely comes around. But I want everyone to also realize just the fact that society has a place for the young population to grow their intellect in different ways. Like, it's still useful. It's sad that young children that really don't excel in certain avenues, for example, mathematics might be too hard, or socializing gets very hard for some of the young population, or competitive drive, that's hard for certain peoples as well, certain of the young population. What else are those other difficulties? The way that the education system presents tasks and duties to complete, sometimes it's not the best form for all peoples and all that. I don't know. Look, either way, whatever. The main point I was trying to say is there's still substance to the education system. We just need to refine it a bit more. Just like a man. See, a man gets refined through the more experiences they go through. The education system, it too, it's been around for such a long time. It could be further refined in a way that it brings out the best character in most people. Because there's still a valid reason as to why it's an awesome tool for our society. But have we refined? Have we put the education system through enough trials? We're in a different age where information is readily available. The internet is much more available to the public. And with the internet, we can connect to any person, to any system, to any piece of information we may wish to receive. Or any information we wish to receive. Are we really allowed? Because, as better peoples get involved with the internet, the virtual public, people try to control what information is available and not. So, that's a entirely different philosophical discussion, floppy discussion. Sorry, but yeah, of course, the education system, I think we all know it needs to go through more processing. I don't want to say it's wrong, because for those whose minds aren't open, people love to see things in black and white. Oh, this means this, so this is wrong. Come on. When you're open-minded, which is exactly why you're listening to me, we know that things aren't just black and white. That's what we're talking about. And so I'm talking about the idea of things or people or systems or objects going and growing through time, through experiences. There is a beauty that happens, and that is when it can improve and become better. The people can become more improved, better because they're more specialized in what it is they need to be. A man, like that guy that me and Seneca were looking at, we value him more because he is more aware of how he can contribute to his life on his own, his family, society, how his family lives in society. He's gone through more experiences, and we can see this guy, he's gone through trials and errors to see what really works for him. And he's accepted what works better, what doesn't. You can see that in a man. You can see that in a person. When they've gone through more experiences, they're more confident. They're more sure of what they wish to tolerate, what they wish to add to, what they wish to continue, what they wish to create and grow. And I guess where they wish to be. That's the harder question. I don't want to talk about it because it's not so much about the quote, but when we're not happy in our environment, we don't look as good and as stunning and as confident and sure as the brother over there. He found his place of how to live where he's at. That's why he's confident. He knows so much about himself. He's probably been through lots of experiences and trials in so many different places, many different societies, that when he comes back home, he's more refined. He knows what he needs to thrive. That's one of the best things about going through experiences, trying new things. You find out in more ways how you can thrive because you're ready for any unexpected situation. That's what experiences give us. The more we experience different things, different situations, different places, different environments, the more prepared we are for unforeseen circumstances. And the more we know what we would like and what we don't like. It's sad because history teaches us so much of that. But I guess the education system hasn't figured out a way to get people to understand in a more personal means what the lessons of history are. Because in a sense, the lessons of history, they help refine and define us. They give us a sneak peek to the experience. We don't ever fully experience those things that are learnt in theory, but at least it gives us a sneak peek. At least it helps to refine us in a slight bit. At least it helps us to get rid of things that maybe we don't need to hold on to anymore. Whether a man can be polished to the 100% of what he's supposed to be, that's a different argument. I don't know if I agree with that. Because when you polish a gem, you want it to be as pure as possible to what the gem is. So when we see it, when we have it, we know like, this gem, it's 100%, I don't know, what's a gem? It's 100% ruby. Look at that. Versus a rough ruby, which still has lots of bits and pieces of other things in it, other minerals. We value the thing that has been refined more. With people, we value more the person who's more sure about what he's doing, about how he contributes to society, of how he can better society. That's where the different roles in life come in. What is your role in life? I'm not saying in society, but in life. Have you lived long enough in your environment to know where you want to be, where you want to add your value to? Have you explored other places where maybe you're better fit? Just because you live in that town, that country, that workplace, it doesn't mean that that is where you are going to be completely refined. More experiences of different things will refine you further. And the more you know about what else is out there, the better you can decide what your role is in life. I know when people look at me, they look at this guy like, oh, look at him, he's always trying this, he's always doing that. Look at Danny, like he's studying this, now he wants to do that. Oh, I thought he was working here, but now, like, you know, I thought he was a tradesman and a renovator, but now he's like doing science. Like, what the hell? And wasn't he like the best at maths when he was in high school? Oh, I thought he was a street kid. But like, I don't know, people look at me and they're like, oh, look at this guy doing so many different things. How sad, how unsuccessful, because I haven't achieved a far journey down a specific road, because there's some sort of urgency that society has for each and every one of us to go down a specific road and achieve as much as possible. That's a trend, by the way. That's a trend because there are the select few in society out there that actually get to achieve so much down a certain road that they look damn successful. But we all forget that when we look at those people that succeed so far down a particular road, they're the one in a million. They're the outliers that happen to find where they can succeed. While the billions and millions of us, we kind of forget that, hey, maybe we should try to find where we can excel rather than trying to be just like this person that happens to be nothing like us. What I was explaining with myself is, I don't know, I haven't exactly fit in to the social norm of like, oh, achieving this and doing this, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Because whether you all like it or not, when you come to my presence, or when you're within my presence and you meet me, everyone knows I'm refined as hell. I'm extremely refined. Seneca and me, when we're looking at that guy, we look at each other like, we're hella refined. I've been through so many things. I know what I want. I know what I tolerate. I know what I accept. I know what I prefer. I know how people could, should, would be, how they wouldn't be. Situations, systems, so many things. I've experienced so much. That's why people come to me for wisdom. They tell me about their experiences, their situations. And because I've experienced so much, I can offer them guidance of a better solution, a better alternative, whether it's worth their time or not. People know when they meet me, I'm refined. I'm not some raw ruby. I'm a polished ruby. Not as polished as I have yet to be, but damn. I've experienced a lot. And you know what's the most exciting thing? I've got so much more to experience. And I've got so much more to... I have so much more refining to go through. So much more trials and experiences to go through. And so do all of you. Don't be afraid to try something new, to go somewhere new, be somewhere new, experience somewhere new. You can travel to a country, yeah, and go for a holiday. But have you lived in that country? It's completely different. Have you lived in that town? Have you lived amongst the people and their culture? Have you understood their culture? Have you had to interact with their culture? I think a lot who will engage in whatever I'm talking about right now, you'll be from the Western culture. The Eastern culture is quite different. My family background's from Eastern culture. It's hella different. The attitudes, the thoughts, what you have to consider, it's not the same. But I understand it. I don't see it as foreign. I don't treat it like it's not useful for me. I see the benefits. I see the flaws. And I use all that experience and knowledge to make my day happier. All your experiences are useful tools to further refine yourself. Don't laugh at the man that tries and fails. Laugh at the man who hasn't tried enough. Who's stuck in his lane, safe, inexperienced, dull, a rough rock that we don't even know if there's a gem deep inside this geode or not. No, don't laugh at them. Help them. Don't laugh at anyone. Except for comedians who put themselves out to be laughed at. You can laugh at me if you want. I laugh at myself all the time. Why not? In the end, all we got is me, myself, and I. Don't be afraid of hard experiences, of trials, of new things. It only helps us grow. It only refines us further. Oof. Damn, I was talking a long time for this one. Or I had, my mind's kind of all over the place, so I had a lot of things to say. But yeah, who cares? This too is a new experience, and I've learned a lot from it. I'm gonna end it here. Don't be afraid to try new things. Live in new ways. And don't be afraid to listen to this whole thing. If you made it this far, you tried something awesome. Thanks. I appreciate it. Signing out.